First of all, hi guys. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. I warmly welcome you to the fifth session of the Azure webinar series. So thank you for joining with us. And this session is done by TN Tech in collaboration with Azure Focus Group Innovative. In the previous session, we went through the Azure management tools and security solutions. So if you have missed the session, you can always go to our playlist on YouTube and check it out. So we will just drop a link to that. So we are planning to do 3 more sessions apart from this, apart from this. And those would be the Azure DevOps part 1, part 2, and then we'll be having the Azure Content Apps. So hoping that all of you will continue with us until the last. If you have any questions today, you can drop it in the chat at the end of this session. So we will be having a Q&A walkthrough in the final. So the speaker for today is Ishara Kumaratna. So he's a associate lead engineer at 99X with over 5 years of experience in the full stack development. I warmly welcome Ishara to continue the session. Ishara, over to you.
Thank you. So, hi guys, welcome again for today's session about this introduction to Azure Storage Services and Databases. I hope you can see, you can hear me, and you can see my screen. So, yep. I think we can start since we have limited time to cover these things. So, yes. So for today's agenda, we are going to discuss about 2 things, mainly on introduction to Azure storage services, and then we will be exploring about some database and analytic features provided by Azure. And also, I already pre-recorded a small demo for creating SQL database server instance and in Azure and connect that using SQL Management Studio in your local PC. So yeah, let's start. So as an introduction, we can use Azure storage services to upload, download, manage, manage and Azure storage blobs, files, queues, and tables, as well as Azure Data Lake storage entities and Azure Managed Disk. Also, we can do other configurations such as config storage permissions and access controls, tiers and rules, etc. There are many configurations. So as it's extensible, highly accessible, secure, and versatile, that means you can manage your storage account in multiple subscriptions across all Azure regions and Azure stacks, and as well as also in Azure government as well. So we'll be discussing these things under the Azure storage services, mainly blob storage and disk storage, files, and blob access tiers. So yeah, you can see how it's showing in our Azure storage account. Like this, under data storage, you can see the options. So yeah. So Azure blob storage. So basically, Azure blob storage is an object storage solution cloud. So it can be it can storage massive amount of data such as text, binary data, like that. And blob storage is unstructured. That means that there is no structure restrictions on the kind of data it can hold. And blob storage can manage thousands of simultaneous uploads and massive amounts of video files, constantly growing log files, and can be reached from wherever with an internet connection. So here you can see some ideal scenarios where we can use Azure blob services, something like serving images or documents directly from browser, and storing files for distributed access, and streaming videos, audios, and storing data for backup and restoration, disaster recovery, and things like archiving, and storing data for analytic by on-premises or Azure hosted services. And you also you will get 8 TB of virtual data for virtual machines as well. So yeah, that's about Azure Blob services. And next we have Azure Disk Storages. And this storage is a cloud block storage that supports both Windows and Linux based clusters. And it's high availability applications via Azure Shared Disk. And there are two types of disk in Azure. One is managed disk and the other one is unmanaged disk. That means in unmanaged disk storage, you must create a storage account in resources to hold the disk for your virtual machines. With managed disk storages, you are no longer limited by the storage account limit. You can have one storage per region as well. So this storage provides disk for Azure virtual machines, applications, and other services can access services and use this disk as needed. Similar to how they would in on-premises scenarios. This storage allows data to be persistently stored and accessed from attached virtual hard disk. And additionally, can say disk come in many different sizes. You know, and performance levels. Uh, from solid state drives, the SSDs, to traditional hard drives, and there are varying performance tiers as well. And we can use the standard SSDs or hard disk and for less critical workloads. And we can use we have a feature option to use premium SSD disk for something like mission critical applications, production applications. So there are some ultra disk for data intensive workloads as well. For top tier databases and heavy transaction workloads, we can use these options. And next we have Azure Files. And Azure Files is a storage service you can use to create a file share in the cloud. And it's based on service message block protocol and enables you to access remotely or on premises via this API, and it's encrypted communication. And Azure Files is a cloud storage designed for sharing files, development or debug files development or debugging tools, and applications that rely on native file systems. In other words, we can say Azure Files offer fully managed file share in cloud, and Azure File Share can be mounted concurrently to cloud or on-premises development on Windows, Linux, and as well as Mac OS. And applications running in Azure virtual machines or cloud services can mount a file storage share to access these file data, just as a desktop application would mount these typical server message blocks shares. And these Azure Files is a flexible service, and that allows to use this in many cases. There are many use cases. So commonly we are using these for something like file servers that you can use Azure Files to replace network attached storages or on-premises file systems. And for other uses, lift and shift migrations. That means it enables you to migrate applications and data by supporting current protocols, and you can move either data, application, or both. And we can another use case is applications shares. You can configure Azure Files as a centralized file share for applications, data, and configuration files. And of course, monitoring and analytics are all there by default. And as well as development and testing, we can use these Azure Files as a centralized repository. And next, we have Azure Blob access tiers. So Blob access tiers are data is stored in a cloud that can grow in exponential rate. In the kind of scenarios we need to manage cost for your expanding storage needs, it's helpful to organize your data based on attributes like frequency of access and planned retention period. We have differentiate data. We can differentiate data storage stored in the cloud based on how it generate, process, and access over time. So Azure Storage offers different access tiers for your blob storage and helping your storage object in the cost effective manner. And we have these three tiers, including hot access tiers, uh, cool access tier, and archive. So what means an online tier optimized for storing data that access and modify frequently. And in this tier, cost is a bit high, and but the I mean in hot tier has a highest storage cost but the lowest access cost. So for example, this suitable for images on your website maybe. And coolx tier optimized for data that is infrequently accessed and stored for at least 30 days. And for example, for invoice customer invoices, we can use that kind of scenarios. And the cool access tiers has a lower storage cost and higher access cost compared to the hot tier. And archive tier appropriate for data that we rarely use and stored for at least 180 days with flexible latency requirement like backups, long-term backups like that. So that's about the last one related to Azure storage services. And yeah, so then we are in the next part of the today's session. That means we are going to explore databases and some analytic services, and we will be discussing these topics related to Azure Cosmos DB and SQL databases and MySQL in Azure and Postgres and manage instance. And we are going to see some highlights on big data analytic topics as things as well. So yeah, so in Azure Cosmos DB, uh, so let's see, today's applications are required to be highly responsive and always online to achieve a low latency and the high availability. Instance of these applications need to be deployed in data centers that are close to their users, and applications need to respond in real time to large changes in usage at peak hours. Peak hours, store every increased volume of data and make this data available to users in millisecond. So for that kind of scenarios, this DB provided globally structured multimodal database services. It's a platform as a services, and it's fully managed NoSQL database, so can elastically and independently scale throughout and storage throughput and in storage and access any number of Azure regions in worldwide. And they're providing a comprehensive service level agreement and latency, availability, and consistency guarantees. And it supports schema-less data, NoSQL, so can build highly responsive and always on applications, and at the cost is low, and store data in atom record sequence format. And the data is then abstract and projected as an API. So you maybe know these APIs such as MongoDB, Cassandra, like that. So projected as an API. And you have migration and these tools as well. Developers can stick with the APIs that they are most comfortable with. And also this Cosmos DB is fast because its schema level service automatically indexes all your data regardless of the data model to deliver in blazingly fast queries. So for example, we can say this DB structure has multi-master support where the data can be simultaneously written into different databases spread out globally. In this way, the data is replicated onto the user's nearest region, so that it can be accessed faster, but there can still be a difference of millisecond between the data being replicated, and this affect the consistency. And so there are so many configurations, so many things you can see when we are looking into this if you are looking into these DB features in more deeply. So next we have Azure SQL Database. So if you are familiar with SQL Server databases, so you will find something similar in this as well. So SQL database is a relational database based on the latest stable version of Microsoft SQL Server database engine. SQL database is highly performance, reliable, fully managed, and secure database. You can use it to build data-driven applications, websites, and in the programming language of your choice without needing to manage any infrastructure in your organization or in your environment. And as a features, we can see it's again a platform as a service and handle most of the database management functions like upgrading, backup, monitoring without any user involvement, and 99.99 availability, and also ability to focus on the domain specific database administration and optimization. Also, as I mentioned earlier, it's fully managed service and built-in high availability, backups, and other common maintenance operations. And also, when you are talking about Azure databases, so we can't forget about its migration services. You can see this some important highlights about Azure migration services as well. So you can migrate existing SQL databases with minimal downtime, and this Microsoft Data Migration Assistant will generate assessment report that provide recommendations through migration. And after you access and resolve any elimination required, you are ready to begin with your migration process, and the Azure database migration service perform all the required steps, and you will only need to change these connection strings in your apps most of the times. And next we have MySQL in Azure. So it's again relational database in the cloud, and as per documentation, it's currently based on MySQL Community Edition, based on database engine version 5.6 and 5.7 and 8, and 99% availability again. And also by default, you will get benefits like built-in security to recover server to an earlier status that support back 35 days. And uh, Azure database for MySQL delivers high availability with no additional cost, and it's pay as you go pricing, and you can scale within seconds, and also provide automatic backup and price gate security as I mentioned earlier, and no need no need to manage virtual machines or any infrastructure because it's a platform as a service. And also, again, we can migrate SQL Server MySQL data minimal downtime using this same migration service, and these are the main features related to MySQL database. And then we have Azure database for PostgreSQL. So it's again a relational database in service in cloud, and the server software is based on community edition of the open source Postgres database engine. And again, you will get benefits like built-in high availability, simple and flexible pricing, and scale up and down within seconds, and adjustable automatic backups, and same point in time restore up to 35 days, and security, enterprise grade security like that. And especially you have deployment options, two deployment options, single server and hyperscale. In single server, it's built-in high availability with no additional cost, and it's pay as you go, and vertical scale as you need within seconds, and an ability to protect sensitive data at rest and in motion as well. And in about other deployment option, hyperscale, so it's horizontally scales query across multiple machines by using sharding. And query engines uh, parallelize these incoming SQL queries across these servers. And also it supports multiple tenant applications and real-time this operation analytic and high throughput transactional workflows. So those are the some of the use cases related to this database. And next we have SQL managed instance. I just wanted to add this one as well, since we are discussing about database. This is also uh, relevant to these SQL databases in Azure. So this is also a scalable cloud database service, data service that provide broadest SQL Server database engine compatible with all the benefit, and it's fully managed, and it's basically it will create a managed instance, so no need to worry about even the database servers like that. Depending on your scenarios, so SQL managed instance, you can get different options for your database need. And same standard features like platform as a service and 99.99 availability, uh, and built-in high availability features, protect data with automatic backups. Can also you can configure backup this backup periods. And you will get migrations like SQL managed instance also using this Azure database migration service, and or you can do the native backup and restoration as well. And last we have so about this big data and analytics. So I just wanted to highlight some points on big data and big data analytics. This should be a separate session, of course, and I added this information as additional information related to the big data in Azure, since you will find when you are doing some fundamental, maybe fundamental certification exams, you will find some basic questions from these areas as well. So, and I'm also this is one of my interest as well. I'm also kind of a new in this big data area, so I have some plans in future as well. So let's briefly discuss on these topics. And when discussing about mainly if you are checking what are the features available for big data in Azure, you will see these options: Azure Synapse Analytics and HD Insights, Databricks, and Data Lake Analytics. So Synapse Analysis is for it's for Azure SQL data warehousing. So combined enterprise data warehousing and big data analytics, and can query data on your terms by using either serverless or provisioned resource at scale. And HD Insight is a fully managed open source analytics service for enterprise. Can run in popular open source frameworks, and cluster can create cluster types like Apache, Spark, Hadoop, Kafka, HBase, and machine language ML services. and also support extraction, transformation, loading, data warehousing, machine learning, and IoT. These are some of the usage that links with the HD Insight. And Databricks help to unlock insight from data. That means can set up your Apache Spark environment in minutes and auto scale and collaborate on shared projects in your interactive workplace, and also supports many language options like for example in big data, this kind of work you will see these are Python like kind of language, also Java kind of language are also available. And also the libraries like Transflow and PyTorch, like that libraries are also supported. And last thing is this data lake analytics. It's also a on-demand analytic service, job service, and you can write queries to transform your data into extract valuable insight from your data. And also you only pay for the job when it's running, so it's kind of a pay as you go method, and can handle jobs of any scale instantly. So these are some of the main things related to these analytic tools. And yeah, so these are the main things that I want to highlight about in this introduction session about storage and storage and databases. So next, I have prepared a demo for creating how to create Azure SQL server instance and how to connect in your local PC using SQL Management Studio. So let me share that. So in this, so we are going to create a new resource in Azure SQL. In Azure services, you can see in resources, we have this create resource. So using that, or in the top bar, you can search for storage database services, and you can see this database option, and you will see some of the database options that we discuss and already available in these services. And we are going to create Azure SQL service logical server for today's demo. And when you create that one, yeah, you can click create. And in this, when you create this one, you will see default settings. So we can add, so we are not going to change anything because it's a default data, and you can add simply a name for your server, and then you can add login, username, password, and you can add password as well. Then you can review the current settings, and you can directly create the instance. So you will see default settings related to networking, and in final step, you will see all the details related to this instance. If you need, you can add tags as well. That's related to managing your resources. And once you review, you can create your resource. It will take a couple of minutes to create the resource. And once it's success, you will redirect to a resource page, or you can see in this notification area like that. You will see the progress. See, it's now created, and you can go to that particular resource. So in here, you can see all the details related to this instance, our server and our server name, and it is like that. You can see so many options for like security and settings, security data management, backup options, like things like that. And so we have created this instance, and you can see we don't have any database for now. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect this instance using our SQL Server Management Studio in our local PC. Then we can create a database from here, there. So let's see how it will work. In Management Studio, you can add your server name, can copy and paste value from details, and you can use same login credentials, and you can authentication option is SQL Server authentication, and it will add automatically add the firewall rule in your PC. So you will need to sign into your Microsoft account. So once you complete, you will be able to create this, connect to this instance. Yes. Uh, yes. Now it's connecting, and let's see how we can create a database and how it will show in our Azure portal. So in database, we don't have any database for now. So let's create a sample database here. So you can give a database name simply, and it's creating database. And so this is on cloud. So all the things are stored in cloud. So we are just using SQL Server Management Studio as a for access purpose. So there are some other tools as well. You can check those tools as well. So once now it's created, and then you can go back to your Azure portal, and you can, if you're checking your SQL database page, so once you refresh, it will create here. Yes, you can see the database, and you can go inside the database and you can see some options related to that as well. Like you can see this some advanced features like this Power Platform, Power BI, Power Apps like that, and some standard features like uh, settings like connection strings. So you can see some sample connection strings to connect to applications and sample codes for PHP and Go. You can copy and paste these things, and you can just need to change the credentials. And so you have this preview version of a querying view as well. So let's in here query editor. In query editor, you can yes, you of course you have to log in to this one using same credentials, because it's a logical server in Azure. We create a logical server, and once you inside, yes, you can see similar view like Management Studio, and you can do the operations, basic operations. And we can create, let's see how we can create running simple query for create a table. And once you refresh, yes. And then of course you can see in our management studio, it's creating there, it's connected. So this is very similar to, it's actually very similar to what we are doing in our local PC, just we are creating all the things on cloud, we are managing all things on cloud. So it's very straightforward, and you can test all the so many things by accessing these services. You can test and you can just delete your instance after you once you complete the test. So that's about this demo, guys, about creating Azure Logical Server instance in Azure Logical Server instance. And yeah, let me share my screen again. So guys, so that's about demo. So we have discussed uh, things related to Azure storage services and databases. So you got some idea about what are the features available in storage services and databases. And I mainly prepare these slides based on some content related to Azure fundamental certification exam. So you will get these kind of basics uh, things when you are, if you are learning for your fundamentals exam. And you will find you will you will see so many questions. So in this topic, this will cover some of the questions in that certification, not all the questions, because this session is only related to storage and databases. So that's it, guys. So over to you. Thank you.
I think since there's no questions, we'll just wrap it up. So if you all have anything, you all can still drop in the chat. So I would like to take a few moment and thank Ishara for accepting our invitation and taking a bit of time from his busy schedule and sharing the knowledge with all of us. So the next session is about Azure DevOps Part 1. So stay tuned for that. So that is all, guys. Thank you, everyone, and hoping to see you all in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.